Electron is God. God is a theological abstraction defined by 7 characteristics. 1. Divine simplicity, not consisting of parts. 2. Omnipresent, present everywhere and every when. 3. Omniscient, meaning all-knowing. 4. Omnipotent, meaning all-powerful. 5. Omnibenevolent, meaning all good. 6. Creator, sustainer, and destroyer of everything. 7. Giver of life and bringer of death. Based on the definition of God, the electron is the only empirical object which satisfies all of the criteria. The electron is divine simplicity. The doctrine of divine simplicity says that God is without parts, not composite, and not made up of something else. The electron is a subatomic fundamental particle having no components or substructure. The electron is omnipresent. Omnipresence is the quality of being everywhere at the same time. All matter is composed of atoms, and all atoms are composed of at least one or more electrons. Thus, everywhere there is something, there is at least one electron. The electron is omniscient. Omniscience is the quality of knowing all information. Neurons are cells that are the core components of the brain, which process and transmit information in the form of electrons as electrical signals. Electrons are what thoughts, ideas, and knowledge are actually made of. Literally, everything that is known is facilitated by way of electron. The electron is omnipotent. Omnipotence is the quality of being all-powerful. In physics, power is the rate at which a force does work, and all forces in the universe are based on the 4 fundamental forces, and electrons participate in 3 of the 4 fundamental forces: gravitation, electromagnetism, and the electroweak force. Electrons do not participate in the strong nuclear force, but electrons can participate in nuclear reactions. The electron is omnibenevolent. Omnibenevolence is the quality of being all good, and goodness is defined as always adhering to a set of rules, laws, or codes. The set of rules or equations that an electron always adheres to includes the Pauli exclusion principle, the Schrodinger equation, the Dirac equation, wave-particle duality, and angular momentum, just to name a few. The electron is creator. The exchange or sharing of electrons between 2 or more atoms is the main cause of chemical bonding, which creates the molecules of all substances. Conversely, the chemical reactions which destroy or transform one substance to another involve the loss or change in position of electrons. The electron gives life. Life is a characteristic of physical entities having biological processes, and biological processes are any number of chemical reactions that result in a transformation. Chemical reactions are caused by the loss or change in position of electrons. Conversely, the cessation of chemical reactions is when electrons stop flowing, and this is what brings about death. In addition to the 7 qualities of God, some additional similarities between God and the electron are love. It is said by people in various religions that God is love. As a thought or emotion, the feeling of love occurs due to the movement of electrons in the brain and body. Remember, the actual substance of thoughts and the substance of feelings in your body is electrons. In the clouds, it is said by people in various religions that God is in the clouds. Electrons orbit the nucleus of an atom in electron clouds. The origin of light. It is said by people in various religions that God created light by saying, "Let there be light." Electrons moving from higher orbital shells to lower orbital shells is the actual origin of light. When an electron moves from a higher orbital shell to a lower orbital shell, it produces a photon, and a photon is the quantum particle of light. You can't see God or an electron. It is said by people in various religions that you cannot see God, and currently there is no method in existence to directly see an electron or any subatomic particle. So the question comes, well, if you can't see electrons, how do you know that electrons exist? So we have to investigate the electron and the atomic model. Atoms and electrons have never been directly seen, but scientists have proven that subatomic particles and atoms exist through experimentation, which facilitates a consistent method to observe the effects made through the predictions provided by the atomic model. Now, a model is a representation of a system in the real world that is intended to help us understand systems and their properties. The atomic model represents what the structure of an atom could look like based on what we know about how atoms behave. It is not necessarily a true picture of the exact structure of an atom. Models are often simplified and cannot always be absolutely accurate. And so the atomic model basically has the nucleus of the atom being a proton, which is composed of 2 up quarks and 1 down quark, and the neutron composed of 2 down quarks and 1 up quark. And orbiting the nucleus of the atom in the electron cloud are 7 electron orbital shells in which the electrons orbit the nucleus. This is the current atomic model. Now, comparing the mythology and stories around the ancient African deity Ptah to the scientific explanations associated with the electron, you find many similarities, and it has led me to the conclusion that the ancient African deity Ptah was actually a form of an ancient African model of an electron. Let's investigate some of the similarities. For electrons rose out of the primordial abyss of energy during the Big Bang at the creation of the universe. In the story of Ptah, Ptah rose out of the primordial abyss called Noon during the creation of the universe. For electrons, the electron is a subatomic particle that preceded the atom. For Ptah, Ptah preceded the deity Atum as the primordial mound, and Ptah was beneath Atum, or subatomic or subatomic. The word atom in English actually comes from the deity Atum, the ancient African deity Atum. The book Stolen Legacy provides a full argument for that point. For electrons, the electron is the worker or craftsman particle in nature responsible for creating the chemical bonds of matter. In the story of Ptah, Ptah was a craftsman deity responsible for creating nature or creating the universe. Electrons are the substance of thought, logic, and reason. In the story of Ptah, Ptah was symbolic of thought, logic, and reason as the logos and nous, creating by imagining it in his heart and speaking with his tongue. The electron gives birth to light in the form of photons. Ptah is the father of Atum, who becomes Atum Ray, symbolic of light. The electron has 7 orbital shells. In the mythology of Ptah, he has 7 pygmy sons called Kinimu. The relationship between electron power, electron flow or current, and DC stable voltage are related by the equation P equals I times V called Ohm's law. And Ptah holds a staff composed of symbols related to power, life, which is made possible by electron flow, and stability, which I call Ptah's law of electronics. Now, there's actually an association between the African deity Ptah and the Mesopotamian deity El. This source says that the Egyptian god Ptah is given the title Du-Gitti, Lord of Gad, in a prison, which has on its opposite face the name of Amenhotep II. The title Du-Gitti is also found in a text that points out that Ptah is often called the Lord of Eternity, and this title of Lord of Eternity may be an identification of the god El with Ptah that led to the epitaph Olam Eternal being applied to El. Now, the Mesopotamian god El is actually the origin of the name of God in Judeo-Christian and Islamic and various Mesopotamian religions. El in Hebrew means God. Elo, which comes from El in Hebrew, means God. Elohim, which is a plural form of Elo, means gods. Allah in Arabic means God, and Ilu means God in Akkadian. Now, the Mesopotamian word for God, El, is actually found in the word electron. Now, granted, this is not official etymology of the word electron, but it's just an interesting observation. So if we were to break down the word electron, we could break it down as El, Lect, and Tron. El, the Mesopotamian word for God. Lect, coming from the Greek word lexis or logos, meaning word, speech, or thought. And Tron, coming from the Greek suffix tron, referring to a device, tool, or instrument. And so we could say the word electron is a tool for God's words and thoughts. So you are encouraged to study particle physics, study quantum physics, and learn about the electron to really get to know God.